Would you be interested in sponsoring a live stream on this channel? This is Ham Radio 2.0, where we do reviews, news, and how-tos of lots of things that are new in amateur radio. And we do live streams about twice a week, once on Wednesday for a lunchtime live stream, which is typically an interview, and once on Sunday for a targeted topic. During those live streams, I will be offering spots at the very beginning for sponsorship so that you can promote your product, your event, your new thing in ham radio, or just anything you want to talk about. Do you have a nonprofit organization? Do you want to promote your club or event? Nonprofits get free sponsorships at the beginning of a live stream. If you're interested in becoming a live stream sponsor, send an email to jason@hamradio2.com. Let me know what you're thinking, and let's discuss it. 73, and thank you for supporting the channel. There it is. Good afternoon. It's 12:01, so technically it's afternoon. Ham Radio 2.0 lunchtime live stream. Thank you for joining us today. Got a good show planned for you. Special thanks to Steve, K5ATA, for joining us today. He is going to be talking to us about his new role with the ARRL and how he can promote amateur radio to the masses. I have a crooked head, so my hat's never on straight. Somebody mentioned a minute ago, I think it was Philip, mentioned a minute ago that I have where did it go? I have LinkedIn piped in now. So I have my LinkedIn chat, which I'll put in the chat right now. There, my LinkedIn profile piped in to the stream through Restream. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of amateur radio stir we can create on LinkedIn. There's a few people out there doing amateur radio stuff on LinkedIn right now, but not as many as YouTube, obviously. But it's a nice platform. It's a good platform that Icon posts stuff. Yaesu posts. I think Yaesu posts stuff. I know Icon posts quite a bit of stuff for their marine and commercial stuff, but ARRL posts stuff there, so we might try to get something going with that soon. So let's just hop right into it today. I'm gonna thank Steve for being on. I'm gonna unmute that and go here, and I gotta unmute Steve there, and then switch the screen. Hey man, good afternoon. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Oh, I am hanging in there. Been enjoying the nice weather in Texas for the last week or so. It's been low 50s in the morning and lower to mid 70s during the day. It's been really nice weather out here. We don't get much of a fall in Texas sometimes. So as I'm sure you're aware since you lived here.
Yeah, I lived there for a while. It's definitely more fallish up here, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So,
all right, so tell everybody where you're sitting right now.
I am sitting in my office in Newington at headquarters. So I was going to go use the studio in there, but I decided, you know what, I'm just going to chill in here. I got about half an hour, so things are busy, I'll tell you that. So, but.
Well, that's good. That's good. Busy in a good way, I guess.
Oh, yeah, so, busy in a great way.
Yeah, so. Excellent. Well, good. Well, thanks for joining us today, man. Just want to kind of give you the floor for a little bit and talk about what's going on at ARRL. I know we want to talk about the webinars here in a minute, and just whatever else your new role entails, and how your background, of course, is youth and amateur radio as a school teacher. So hopefully ARRL is still letting you continue to preach to the Padawans, as it were. So
they are. I kind of phrased it, when I accepted this and left the Padawans down there, which I did leave in really good hands with a friend of mine.
Good.
That rather than just doing it, the Padawans there, I'm going to propagate Padawans everywhere is kind of my plan. And that's kind of what David Minster asked of me when, he brought me on. He's like, look, you did it at a school. Now let's do it to a country. And so we're on the way, man. It's just, I met with some folks at the Illinois State Board of Education Friday last week. Mm-hmm. And, sat down with the guy that's one of the top guys as far as, coming up with education and technology standards. And we've got a plan that we're working through, and we're going to get amateur radio in more schools starting in Illinois first, I guess. So, and then we're going to just kind of start branching out from there. So
that's a topic that comes up on several ham radio clubs that I'm a member of. That's a topic that is talked about, semi-regularly, fairly regularly, about how to get amateur radio into a school. Usually they're talking about a high school, sometimes middle school, even like colleges. One club in East Texas reached out to me just last week and said, "Hey, we've got a lot of elderly gentlemen in our club, and they're kind of resistant to change, but I want to grow the club." And I'm like, "Well, you need to get new people in. Why don't you hit up the community college down there?" So that might be something that he looks at doing. But it's definitely a question that comes up a lot. So I'd like you to talk about that if you don't mind. Kind of where people can go for resources. I'm sure you don't have a bullet by bullet outline about how to do it. Follow these steps and you'll get into your local high school. It'd be
I
not.
don't, but I kind of have what I've termed kind of like the kryptonite, I guess, which
Okay.
Most of the time the resistance people are going to face is the administration. That when you get in there and you're up against administration, they're like, well, what's this going to do for my school? It's all about what it's going to do because they're essentially outlaying money in some form or fashion, whether it's time or whatever. Mm-hmm. And this last year, I think the number is $556,000 worth of scholarships that the ARRL Foundation gave away.
Wow.
And it may be 551. That's technically a separate group, but that's only open to amateur radio operators. And when you can slide a sheet of paper, and it's actually several sheets of paper, if you go to the ARRL website and just search 2021 scholarship awards, it's going to bring them up. Mm-hmm. And what I tell people to do is take that and just start highlighting all the dollar amounts. $25,000 scholarships. I think there were 4 of them last year. So 4 kids coming out of high school got a scholarship for 25 G's to go to college or whatnot, and just slide that across and start doing the math with them. Mm-hmm. And most of the time principals are like, okay, I can see some value here. Mm-hmm. But one thing I will tell you is you really need to have a partner in the school. It's now more than ever in schools, you've got to have a teacher or a staff member, someone who's willing. They don't have to be a ham, but they have to be willing to sponsor it. They have to be the one that's going to be the responsible and, person in the room, the one with the keys to the kingdom, I guess, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So that's usually going to be the bigger challenge, is finding somebody who's willing to go there and do that. Technology teachers are quite often the good one to go to for that. Mm-hmm. But you'll be surprised, a lot of times there are people in the clubs that have kids or grandkids that are in the school. Right. And that's a good way for that person to get in there and talk to that teacher and say, hey, we've got this, and as a club, we're willing to support you doing this. Mm-hmm. To open that conversation up. But, most states are coming up with new standards for technology education anyway. And I said earlier, I was in Illinois, which was actually kind of cool. It's Metropolis, the birthplace, or not the birthplace, but the hometown, I guess, of Superman. Mm-hmm. And met with them, and, they're all basing their standards off of the ISTE standards, which, they're going to have their own flavor to it. But part of what I'm doing and what I'm going to hope to get some ideas from some of the teachers out there doing this is we're coming up with new engaging lessons that integrate those standards and amateur radio together. So when somebody starts Googling, how do I teach technology standard 6.3B? Mm-hmm. One of the search results that comes up is, whatever amateur radio activity meets that standard. And so start getting some exposure that way as well.
That's perfect. Okay. Yeah. I've a lot of time, I shouldn't say it a lot of times, but more than once I have met hams in a ham radio club who are teachers like yourself that are asking this question. And I was like, well, you're a ham. You should have a leg up on someone who's not a ham.
They're already in the door. They've just got to convince the administration that it's a good thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that's
there are grants. Part of what I do here is we have education technology program grants that we give for new stations and station progress grants. But the ARRL Foundation has grants. I mean, there's a lot of grants where a school itself doesn't necessarily have to outlay money, between clubs and grants and stuff like that. I mean, they need to give us a space is what we really need, a space and a person.
Right. Yeah, that's okay. I bet we could probably drum up some interest across a YouTube channel or 2 or 7 about getting some radios and antennas into schools if they were to give us a space in a person.
Yeah, and that's actually, I seem to know a guy who's had some radios sent to him for some kids.
Right.
And in fact, it's funny, Curtis took over my classroom, and he's one of the guys that he's a teacher, and he actually licensed with my first group of Padawans at the school, and he's upgraded all the way to extra since then. And he was in there going through the closet of stuff, and he's like, dude, there's like 40 Baofeng radios and 40, a few ICOMs, a few Yaesus, and this and that and the other. He's like, there's all these radios in here. I was like, yeah, those are for kids. That's, I don't, that's what they're there for. So, he's having a great time with it and rolling from there. But
good.
That's a good way to do it, is to, get other people to help support you. You can't do it all yourself.
Right. Yeah, totally. Excellent. Okay, guys. Okay, so Frank's in the chat, but he's at work today, so he's not in the background. So you guys have any questions or anything, or suggestions, or clarifications on what we're talking about? Please let us know. Artie Mercer in the house, Amateur Radio on the Air in the house. Appreciate you guys being here today. So we're talking with K5ATA about ARRL in schools and classrooms, but also just kind of overall their training program. So you want to talk about the webinar thing, Steve?
Yeah, we're doing a lot of new things. We're trying to get a lot more video content out there. In fact, you're going to do a webinar for us coming up, and if you and I can ever, well, I guess we are connected now. So after this, we'll get that scheduled.
Yeah, after this.
It's where we have a webinar series, and that's the webpage. It's up there. And you'll see the one that says call for speakers there. If you're somebody out there that you've got something in ham radio that you're passionate about and you enjoy, you don't have to be a YouTuber. You don't have to have a video channel. You just have to have something that you enjoy, that you know about, and you want to present that to, other amateurs. Shoot me an email, or, click that link and put in that goes to me also. Would love to talk to you about getting that on there. There's 8 million different facets of this hobby, and there's an audience for all of it. So don't sit there and think, well, I do temperature sensors and buoys. Not many people. Yeah, well, you know what? There are a lot of people who may be interested in that. So if you've got something that you want to share and see if you can help have that grow in the hobby, shoot it to me. Also, all of the webinars, if you're an ARRL member, are available in the Learning Center for you to view also. So you can see the past ones too. So it's a live event, and then it hangs around. And all of those we're launching a new Learning Center as well. That's another thing I'm doing. And all of those videos are going to move over there and get housed over there also. So
cool. Yeah. Okay. So what's the difference between a webinar and a learning center then? Because I was I was unclear about that myself.
Yeah. So the Learning Center is actually, it's a center. It's exactly as the name implies. It's like a center for learning. It's we have different courses in there, and several of the YouTubers have done some courses for us, and several more that I've got in the works, and some more that I need to get in the works. And then some are school teachers that have created courses. And by course, I mean, a multi-video thing teaching you how to do something, stepping you through, how to get started in the hobby, or how to pick your first HF antenna, stuff like that. More like a series of videos that have little quizzes afterwards, and you get a little wallpaper when you're done, get a certificate to hang on the wall.
Okay.
And whereas the webinars are more like it's just like a one-off presentation for the most part. There are a couple that have a series of, 2 or 3 webinars in a row, but it's more like a one-off quick shot of, here's what I do with, like I said earlier, buoys and ham radio.
Mm-hmm.
And you give them just enough to kind of get some information, learn a thing or two and spark some interest in them, so they do some more research on their own and get into it that way.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. The webinars are live, are they not?
They are. They're live, and we take questions, and have a little 15-minute Q&A period at the end.
Okay.
And, we're folks just post the question at the end. I just kind of field the question to whoever's presenting and go from there. It's a format that's been around forever, and I mean it works well. It's tried and true. So for something small that you don't need to take a whole bunch of time. Hey, I see Mike's in the house. Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
So Mike actually is one of them that he did a little coursework for us.
Yeah.
So when that launches, y'all will be able to see that. So
I imagine Mike's really heavy into D-Star, so I imagine that's what his course was about.
Nah, I bet you can probably figure out what Mike's course is about.
Yeah. It's not D-Star.
Is it POTA Daddy this week?
Whatever. Yeah, he's got a list he keeps on his phone now about all of his nicknames, and I'm like, that's not vain at all, Mike. Good job. So, we like to tease him. He's
well, he loves what he does. So
yeah, he does.
There's something to be said for that. So
this time next week, I am going to be POTA in Costa Rica. And nice. I am looking very forward to that. It's just going to be an awesome event. Gosh, it's going to be so fun. Anyway, we don't want to get off on a POTA tangent. There's so many times we get off on a POTA tangent. I imagine we'll get off on a POTA tangent on Friday because we're going to do a happy hour on Friday. So we're going to do some POTA tangents there, I'm sure. But yeah, good deal. Okay, so good. So we got webinars, we got Learning Center with replay videos. Are the webinars, do they go into, or I mean, it's probably all kind of the same area, but the webinars are there as replay inside of the same area as the Learning Center videos?
Yeah, that's where they'll end up. Right now, they're housed. We use GoToWebinar right now. Yeah. Which that we're changing that right now. We're switching that over to Zoom.
Okay.
But they will end up being housed on the Learning Center. They're actually there right now. It's just, I'm still kind of banging away testing the Learning Center since.
You just got there, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of just got here 6 weeks ago, so I'm making sure it all works before we hit the go button.
Sure. Yeah, totally. Good. Okay, so once again, those of just joining, go to, and I'll go ahead and share this link in the live stream real quick, but go up here and click on Call for Speakers if you think you've got a topic inside of amateur radio that you feel comfortable presenting on.
And it's not, I mean, it's not anything, whiz bang fancy. Just, we've actually got a template for a PowerPoint we can send you that kind of does everything for you except put your content in it. So, my colleague Allie next door, she does a great job of getting that sent out pretty much as soon as you submit that. It gets out there. So
good. Yeah. So if you've ever presented at a local club or a ham fest, something.
That's exactly the kind of thing we're looking for. Yeah. It's just, something you would do for a ham club. Like, hey, this is, well, like, Cody the Padawan did one on Echolink. So for the club.
That's right.
Stuff like that, little quick things.
Excellent. Cool. All right. Well, that's good. Okay. So that link is in the chat for anybody who wants to see it. But all right. So what else is going on? What can we expect? I know you're working. I mean, you just got there, so you're just kind of getting a lay of the land right now, I think, and wanting to kind of see what's there before you start making a bunch of changes. Not that changes will always be needed, I suspect.
No, but there are some things that, I mean, it's no secret. There are some things that are changing. Anyway, I mean, the area of video creation and video content, that's huge. And that's something that we're definitely trying to address and get to. Josh made a video for us and that came out last week, and it's basically why ham radio is something to kind of get a more modern look on, for why would somebody choose ham radio, and that's on our YouTube channel. Good. We partnered with Dave Kassler for his licensing videos, and
good idea.
The technician videos are on our YouTube channel. and the general and extra ones will end up in our learning center. So, youth is obviously my thing. I'm every time I turn around, that's what it is how can I get more youth into the hobby? Because the reality is that's where the future of the hobby is. And by youth, I don't just mean like middle schoolers like I taught, just anybody college age and under, because like you said earlier, the community college is a great place to hit with that, because you don't have the same roadblocks either. They're adults at that point. So you can reach out to them and not have to jump through the same number of hurdles that you would have to the year before when they were in high school.
Right.
And try to get stuff going. They're reaching out to like engineering departments and stuff like that, and trying to get some folks.
K5YVY Joe Brett's in the house, and his first question is, does Steve have coffee?
He does have coffee. In fact, the very first purchase for my new office that I made when I got up here was a coffee pot that has the little button that'll take longer and make it a stronger brew. So
nice.
That was
very cool.
That was actually the last trip. I was up here in September, and that was, I was up here with the guy who I was taking over for, and Friday was my first day in here by myself. So Friday morning, it had been in the back of the rental car for the whole week, just waiting. It's like, all right, as soon as he's gone, that coffee pot's coming out.
Gonna make my mark.
So
gonna make your
and
mark.
It's funny. I mean, it smells up the whole end of the building now like coffee now. Allie comes walking down the hall. She goes, "Oh, I can smell the coffee."
Nice.
Life is good.
That is awesome. That is great. So good deal. All right. Well, go ahead and tell people. And we've got we got just over 60 watching now. It's about twice as many when we started. So go ahead and tell people how they can get involved if they're wanting to get, which you've already said this, but I just want you to repeat it. How they can get involved if they want to get ham radio into their local schools or expand their local club.
So getting it into local schools, like we said, you want to try to find a teacher. One of the things that we do here that a lot of people don't know about is the Teachers Institutes. Okay. And basically it's for most expenses paid trip to Connecticut. Right. The teacher puts down $100 and that's more just a guarantee that they get on the airplane. But most of the time the school cuts that, everything else the league pays for. It's through donations through the education technology program, and that program is specifically for teachers who want to take amateur radio back to their classroom. They leave with, I'm going to say Christmas when they get here, man. It's a stack of stuff that they learn how to use and they take back to teach amateur radio in the classroom. So a lot of times when you ask a teacher, like, I don't know enough about it. Well, we can fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've got some great instructors. Matt, Tommy, and Larry are the guys that teach those courses, and it's everything from the very basics of radio to satellite operations, weather sensors, stuff like that. So, and you get to take all of that stuff with you. I mean, you might want to bring a second suitcase. I guess we could ship it. I imagine we ship some of it. But that's a big one when people are like, I'm not so sure I'm comfortable with that. Try that one. The scholarship thing, slide that scholarship money across the table to people and say, look, this is something that's only open to kids who are hams, people who going into college that are hams. And I mean, that's a scholarship that the chances of getting one are much larger than just applying for every other scholarship. Because I mean, how many high school hams do you know? Right. Not as many as there are kids applying for other scholarships.
No, not really. Wow, that's a good point. I'm gonna have to get my nephew's been wanting to get his license. He's only like 14, but I'm like, all right, now might be the time.
Yeah, now is definitely the time. And they do have to be licensed for at least a year before that, just to prevent the people from getting licensed and then just applying the next day.
Sure, yeah.
And obviously they want, I say we, but it's not me at all. It's them. They want somebody who's going to be active in the hobby. Do something. You don't have to do everything, but do something.
Right.
You know, like Jerica's thing, she POTA's her thing. That's her thing, and that's perfectly fine. She doesn't have to be into everything else. Leah's the same way. I mean, their kids, Cody at my old school, he's APRS is the thing he's digging into. You know, that's as long as you've got something that you're active with the hobby, and that's going to help you out. Plus, it just keeps you engaged in the hobby, and that thing can change, obviously. I mean, as it does with us as hams, we change what we do all the time. Also, I would just say, you know, join the ARRL. You know, that money is used for a lot of different things, but I can tell you, after having been up here, this is my second week up here, not consecutively, that I can honestly tell you that the people in this building are actively working to try to help radio grow. And you know, that helps these teachers, it helps everything with the hobby. So the best way to help is, you know, join the league, join ARRL. And you know, if you're new ham, that On the Air magazine, I don't know if you know, most of us have seen a copy of that. It's a great magazine for the beginner, and you get all the other ones on your iPad or whatever your mobile device is anyway. So and then any questions about how to get into schools or how to get into clubs or anything like that, shoot me an email. I mean, if I'm not the guy to answer it, I can get the guy that can. You know, we've got a lot of services up here that people don't really know about all the time, like technical information service. You know, you got those funky questions about stuff. They're just sitting there waiting to help. I mean, they're doing other things all day, but that's kind of like their high point of the day is like, hey, look, we get to work on this problem kind of thing. So, you know, there are a lot of benefits to being a member other than just the magazine.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah. And I keep meaning to subscribe to On the Air myself, because I read one. Well, I didn't read one. I picked up one and I read through like one article in one, and I think that was at Orlando the last time I was there. Has it been out that long? It's been out a year and a half?
Yeah, that seems about right.
Okay. I think that's where it was. If I'm not, anyway, I was at a ham fest somewhere. It was not Huntsville. It was before that. And I picked one up and I started reading, and I read this one shorter article, and I'm like, you know, been a ham for 26 years, and I find this information quite valuable. Cause it's, you know, I'm always telling people, I was like, you know, do the beginner courses, because the question pool to get people licensed today is not the same question pool it was 26 years ago when I got my license.
No, and yeah, you and I licensed it about the same time. And it's funny, I'm going through the Dave Casser I mentioned earlier. We partnered with Dave for that stuff, and I'm going through those videos, getting those posted, and it's like kind of like refresher for the general and extra class. I was like, oh yeah, whoa, that's different from when I got mine.
Right.
You know, stuff like that. So, and like I said, you know, you get all the magazines anyway. If you've got, you can actually read them on any device, but you get the digital subscription to all of them. And, you know, so it's, personally, I like the iPad reader for it. It's just, I just have it download all of them. And like on the plane flight up here, I was reading through it. So
that's a good, yeah, I forget. I have QST. I have the QST app. I think there's a QST app, or maybe it's just an ARRL app.
It's the ARRL.
Yeah. Okay.
It's actually called like ARRL magazines or something.
Something like that. Yeah. I have that on Android, and I just forget that On the Air's in there as well. So I should go check that out. But
yeah. And it's a great magazine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want something that, you know, if you're a ham and you want something to help the classroom out, and you read all your stuff digitally anyway, take the print version of On the Air and just drop it by your school.
Right.
You know, drop it by for the librarian, and drop it by for the tech teacher, whoever it is, to give them something to look at. Because if you get a subscription, you get a paper one anyway. So if you're reading them all digitally or whatnot, just take that one, and, you know, maybe a kid will pick it up.
Yeah. Good idea. All right. So let's see. RF Field Tech's asking, how do I promote ham radio for ham adjacent jobs? My job is about 99% adjacent to just about everything ham operators do. So I said, hey, I told him to email me. I don't know what his job is, but but that's an interesting thing to think about. So let's see. He's also that's good.
Let's see. Michael's gonna go to his first Ham Fest in
right
Orlando, hopefully. So definitely. So I'll be in Orlando, so I'll see you there.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're gonna. I had the Orlando Hamcation guys on here last Sunday. If you guys haven't caught that video yet, go check that out. It's kind of early; it's still about 4 months out, but they're making some really cool plans, and they'll have some updates for us probably after the first of the year. So I'm gonna have them back on the show early to mid-January, so we can talk about the mid-February Ham Fest. That's the second largest Ham Fest in the United States.
Yep. And they're not the only ones making cool plans. So
no, I'm sure that's true. But yeah,
I know it's true.
Well, we're gonna have our first YouTubers Ham Fest meeting in January. Actually, we're gonna actually plan early this year. Go figure.
That's always a great time too, and that's that's one thing that obviously you and I know that the power of video and the power of YouTube to help share the hobby and educate people is just huge. So
yeah, absolutely. So good. Well, cool, man. I think you said you only had a half hour today. Is that right?
Yeah, I got
roughly
there.
Okay.
But
anything? Any parting
any
words?
questions anybody has out there or whatnot? I've got a minute or two to.
Yeah. Any questions?
Some of those if they have them, or if you just want to shoot the breeze while I finish my cup of coffee.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. RF Field Tech. Okay, so he says he works for one of the major cell phone companies. Did I meet you in Belton? I think I know who you are now. I don't always know people by their YouTube channel names when they're typing in chat, but I think if I met you in Belton, I know who you are now. But yeah,
I've actually got a friend who is the same thing. He does something with one of the major cell phone companies, and he's got a couple of his coworkers to take an interest in it. So, shoot me an email if maybe I can get you his contact information or whatnot.
Yeah, totally. Good.
I will tell you one thing I've learned about up here, other than the fact that it's much colder in the morning. There are parks everywhere. Izzo's constantly activating parks up here, and I can see why. Yeah. I mean, there are parks everywhere. In fact, Jerica was kind of helping us look for a house, and she's looking. She goes, "Oh, Daddy, when I come up from college, look at all these parks we can go activate." Yeah. I was like, "Yeah, that's where it is right there."
When excuse me, when I was in Long Island last April, Bob and I drove around, and we just took a day and we just drove around. We hit like 5 parks that day, and they're all over Long Island too. I guess that's just a Northeast thing, because I went
all those taxes go to.
yeah, right. There are a lot of parks up in the Northeast, whether it's in Connecticut or New York or wherever. But I got to activate one park with Izzo too. He took me to a really beautiful one. But I was looking on the map. I was like, man, that you're not going to run out of stuff to activate up here anytime soon.
And shoot, Izzo has his own beach, man.
yeah, it does.
So he shares it with like eight houses or something like that. Because he took us down, and I was like, man, where's the radio? We can hook it up to this rail or with it.
Right.
He's like, no, we can't antenna this stuff. It's not mine. It's like, you're never gonna know. Hook it up.
We can't antenna this stuff. It's not mine.
That's the first thing I started doing, was looking for stuff I can clip to. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, the video marketing conference, this video marketing world, I went to this conference here last weekend right here in town, actually in Dallas, actually in the city of Dallas. Last time I was in Richardson, but this time I was in Dallas. They were saying that you should come up with buzzwords for your industry. And I'm like, okay, we already have ham harder and will it antenna. I mean, that's kind of like some buzzwords for our industry that we talk about a lot. So
So is that where you learned your LinkedIn trick to stream it there too?
No, LinkedIn is kind of weird, man. They don't let just anyone apply to stream live. They have it kind of, for lack of a better term, locked down right now. They offer it to some people. They offer it to people who are more persistent on the platform, which I haven't been real persistent. I upload videos to it every now and then, but not consistently. And just for whatever reason. And so I've applied for it for like a year and a half. and for whatever reason, they finally approved me like just the other day, and I think part of it had to do with Restream. Restream had a presence at this video marketing thing I went to last weekend. In fact, I don't know if you use Restream, Steve, in your.
I do not. No.
Okay.
In fact, I've taken a very deliberate break from YouTube right now, just getting used to this. And
sure. Yeah.
I have a video of, back to old school, what I used to do, Jarek and I playing POTA, that I'm about to put out there. So
that's good. That's good. Well, when you get back into it, and this is a message to all YouTubers, go sign up for Restream. They have a free version. If you do the paid version, it gives you a little bit more access. But Restream came out with a thing called Restream Pairs not too long ago. So basically, when I live stream on YouTube, it goes to my YouTube channel, Twitch, Facebook page. I can choose to put it on a Facebook group or my Twitter account, and now it's on LinkedIn. Right now, I'm streaming to 5 places. I'm doing YouTube. Most of you are on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook page, Twitter, which actually does not Periscope, but Twitter actually does live streaming now, and LinkedIn. Those are the 5 places. Well, with Restream Pairs, I can send Steve a proprietary.
Call 397, please. Ed.
I didn't know my phone did that.
I learned something new. So with Restream Pairs, I can send Steve a link, a custom link to this stream, and he can enter it into his Restream account, even if it's a free account, and then you could stream it to all of your Twitch channel, YouTube channel, Facebook group and page, wherever else you have streams going. So those of you that only stream to YouTube, it's probably not beneficial, but those of you like me who stream to multiple places every time, instead of 5 places right now, we could be streaming to 8 or 10. Yeah. So it's kind of a neat thing to promote other channels, and I could stream it. If there was a Good Game Ham Radio Facebook group, we could stream there, that kind of thing. But I don't know, something to think. It's kind of a neat. It's a neat thing that I hadn't seen before. I hadn't seen any multicast software do that before. So I sent Josh a message the other day. I was like, you should check this out, because I know he uses Restream. So, yeah. But it's good stuff. Only Hams is only $4.95 a month. Okay. Yeah. I actually went and looked up that domain name the other day. They want like $1,200 for that domain name. I guess it's too close to OnlyFans, but
yeah, I'm not even touching that.
Right. Exactly. So. Yeah. We're not going to do that. So, all right, man. Well, hey, thanks for your time today.
Thank you for having me. And look, I'll definitely, as things get updated here, I'll definitely, reach out to you. And we can do this again.
Yeah, I was telling Steve before we started rolling that I would like to get him on a regular basis, maybe once a month, maybe once every other month. We'll see what kind of activities are ongoing. But you guys in the chat and on Team Replay, please let us know what kind of information you would like to see coming out of the ARRL for training and teaching and learning.
Absolutely,
and all that kind
and like I said earlier, if you've got something you want to present, go click that link for call to speakers on the webinars Learning Network page. And we can get it taken care of.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the page right there. So good deal. Well, Steve, I'll let you get back to it. Thanks for being on today. Are you how long are you going to be up there in Connecticut?
This week I'm leaving early Saturday morning.
Okay.
I'm trying to sell a house, so I've got to finish that up too. So.
Are you driving or flying?
No, I'm flying.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
well, okay. Well, we got our happy hour Friday night, so you're welcome to pop in there, even if it's just for a few minutes.
I might try to do that. I know my wife's got houses on a list for us to look at here, so
okay,
we'll see.
All right.
There's not really a lot of free time when I'm here. I'm here all day, and then she's like, "Okay, here's the list of where we're going tonight." So, all right,
I got you.
So
I got you. All right, man. Well, 73. Thanks for being on today, and we look forward to seeing what you're going to do with this learning center at ARRL.
All right, man. 73. Right. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, let's switch that there. And go here. Okay. Hey, guys, thank you for being here today. Probably just going to go ahead and cut it short. Usually I go for about an hour, but half hour is a good time slot as well. Definitely join us. I don't think Frank has put the link up yet for Thursday Night Ham Radio tomorrow. Let me double check that real quick. Okay. No, not seeing that yet. So Frank hadn't put the link up yet for Thursday Night Ham Radio, but there will be a link up for Thursday Night Ham Radio, probably that comes out later today. Friday night is, of course, our monthly happy hour that we do on this channel. I have a couple of special guests that have been invited and say they will be there, so I'm looking forward to seeing those guys on there. And there should be quite a few YouTubers out there and other general ham fam folks who are a lot of times with us during the stream. So be sure to check that out. And it should be a fun. It's always those happy hours are just a fun. It's just a fun time to hang out, talk about ham radio, but also whatever. I tell people the happy hour is for if we all live together in the same if we all lived in the same area. If we all lived in the same metroplex. If we all lived in North Texas or all lived outside of Dayton, Ohio, or something like that. A happy hour, the ham radio happy hour on YouTube is basically what would happen, is a virtual version of what would happen if we all met at a restaurant one night and just kind of hung out together. So it allows us to do that across the planet. So it's because we don't all live in the same area, and would be hard to meet up at a restaurant or something like that. So ham radio happy hour is just a good interaction time for everybody in the ham fam. Everyone is welcome. So 73 to all. Thank you for joining us today. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night on ham radio, Thursday night ham radio, Friday on the happy hour, and then next Sunday, I've got Jarrett from the Hammers app coming back on. So he's going to talk to us about the latest updates to the Hammers software. That's going to be a fun stream. Looking forward to that as well. 73, and you guys have a good afternoon.